Oh, we got one item. We got the bug catching net.
That is very good. Because what could you do with like that? There was something you were talking about.
Oh, we were
no, but
gonna
it
need
was
to
enter
use
the
that to reflect against Aghanim, but we don't need that.
right. While we're on the topic of game preservation, old games, as much as you know, the term 8-bit has been used incorrectly, just in a very annoying way. Because every time somebody uses it, I now immediately think you're wrong. That's not what that means.
You're thinking 16-bit,
Learn.
like 95% of the time.
Exactly. And even when they say 16-bit, it's sometimes it's still beyond 16-bit too. It's like, oh no, there's no way. If you're talking 16 or 8-bit, there's no way that this game could display the number of colors or the number of sprites at the same time. But either way, anyway, there's a YouTube channel that I recommend people looking at. It's called The 8-Bit Guy, and he talks about old hardware and how basically these old systems worked and how different graphics were displayed. Like there's one video where he talks about the difference between oh my god, I'm trying to think. EGA graphics and other types of graphics, but he also had an episode on light guns. That was like the second video I ever. It is, and that and light pens, and it's super cool. And he explains it really well for people that don't know how they work, or he gives a good layman's terms description on how things work without like cheapening the description.
That's something a lot more people need to learn, like, big time.
They do.
Oh, the second red boomerang.
Huh. What?
That's what I was saying. Remember, like, hey, there was a second red boomerang somewhere on the world map.
Yeah.
So there must be one.
Weird.
There must be one treasure chest in the world that has a red boomerang in it, just in case you miss it.
Huh.
Or maybe it's one of those things where, you know how, like, if you don't pick up the lantern in one item box, it'll be moved to another? Mm-hmm. I think there are some, if you don't get the skull shield and red boomerang from the fairy early on, I think they just, a couple of treasure chests that just have, like, 1 rupee in them, I think those get replaced with the sword and shield, or the boomerang and shield, just in case you didn't get it up till that point. Like you know how an item can change locations? Like, if you get Link's lantern at the beginning of the game, and you open up another treasure chest, it might only have 5 rupees in it. But if you don't have the lantern yet, when you open it up, it'll have the lantern.
Yeah.
I think they do that at points in the game with stuff like upgraded shield and in this case the boomerang. So just in case you somehow manage to make it to the dark world without getting the flippers and upgrading your gear, if you have the skull knight or the skull shield and the boomerang, it'll just be bombs or like a single rupee. But if you don't have them, it'll be those items.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of how there would be a treasure chest that had items that you would have to toss in. I think that's just because, in this case, you wouldn't toss them in. You don't notice because you already have them.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know if he's gonna be this hamburger helper is gonna be no, he's just a storyteller.
Let me tell you the story of my particular blend of spices.
Listen, my wife is me. It's a lonely road. Let me tell you what I've done to get by. You ever seen a Cyclops dick?
Terrible.
Horrifying.
It also has an eye.
And throws bombs.
Hey, it's Sorcerer. What are you doing?
Hope you had fun walking over those nails to come talk to me.
I could really use some soup.
How you doing with those, Damn. How you doing with those boots that I saw you, the pearl-shaped boots I gave you?
Pretty great stuff. So, where are we off to now? Are we going to dungeon, or
We could do another dungeon. I actually kind of want to see what I get from the Quake Medallion area.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which is not, yeah, pretty close to where we are now. Because unfortunately, until we find the bow, we're still not out of the woods yet.
Sense.
We're gonna get to the point where the last boss we're gonna have to fight is gonna be the fucking armored knights. So I'm gonna pick up his sign and throw it at him.
What do you want to bet that he's going to throw you the bow now?
Oh, I hope. That would be pretty nice. No, I was actually figuring it's probably going to be a piece of heart.
Yeah.
There is actually one thing we can do. So until we get that last pendant, we have no idea what, we've got in terms of, what crystals we've gotten. But there is one way to tell. If we go to Link's house, actually, while I am here, let's go get some more of this. But if we go to Link's house in the alternate world and they have the super bomb, then we can go and get some upgrades. And then after that, our next goal, I guess, would be to do Swamp Palace, which I don't think you need, I don't think you need bow and arrow for that. I think we have everything we need to take on the Swamp Palace, and it's probably gonna end up being, a boss is gonna end up having the bow and arrow.
I completely forgot about the Swamp Palace.
Yeah,
that's right.
There is also a tiny chance that the armored knights may actually have the bow and arrow as their item.
Oh man.
Nope, no super bomb. Although actually it is kind of interesting now that I noticed it. So, you know the green and red monsters that, move when you move?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those are mimics. Like, that's their actual enemy name, are mimics.
Oh.
And I just noticed that in Link's house is effectively a mimic.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, because he's just like a tiny little version.
This, like, when I found out about this dungeon, it blew my fucking mind. Like,
this is so. This is like actually one of the coolest fucking things I think this game has to offer.
Because that
like to show, like,
absolutely blew my mind. That, like, oh, things you do in the light world affect what happens in this world. I'm like, no, you're fucking lying.
You're a liar. Nice.
Okay, so I can hit them. It's gotta go from above.
Yeah, the time before I was just like, damn, he's hitting him, but why are they not?
Yeah, nothing. This one was always a pretty tough dungeon for me too.
This is kind of weird. I think it's like either the tight sort of corridors and spaces, but I also find it kind of like super difficult. Also, a lot of different weird shit, like those.
Yeah, the blobs. This feels very much like the dungeon that most 64 dungeons were based on.
Yeah. Like in the way that like the room layouts were,
that's
oh
convenient.
hey, wow, oh my god! Not only in the dungeon we're supposed to get it in, but for chest.
Yeah, that's. I'll take that shot. It sucks that I can't use that to like kill. Like I can't use that to kill. Arrow-like enemies. Like I should be able to shoot out.
Yeah, you should be able to. It's still a point flying out.
Yeah, it just comes back to me at the end.
Yeah.
I got enough bombs. Have a special surprise.
Yeah. And what's that? Oh!
Dumb skeleton.
Skeleton. My name's a red skeleton.
I throw bones at people. And am a great black comedian.
Oh my god. Wait, have I talked to you about Justin Roiland's accounting VR game?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it's
so good. I wish I could play it.
Yeah, same here. I also kind of wish I had VR. Oh, they don't have it on PSVR, but what's it? What's that movie that's coming out tomorrow? The Belkin Experiment.
Oh no, I don't know about this.
So the Belkin Experiment is a movie by James Gunn that he kind of openly admits is like their version of Battle Royale, where
the office building,
yeah,
where they all have to kill each. Yeah, I immediately thought that when obviously the concept is kind of like, you know.
Well, I mean, they were also using Mozart's Requiem, like the opening song of Battle Royale. I don't think that they were trying to. I think they were winking and winking and nudging and nudging.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which I do not mind if they do that again. I'm totally down for that. I'd
much rather that than the Hunger Games, which I felt was more of a knockoff. But we're gonna YA it up.
That's wow. Yep, I was gonna say Hunger Games was not raw enough. When it should have been super raw.
Oh, I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about that movie.
By the way, have you seen? I didn't realize this. There's a movie coming out called Baby Driver.
Okay, and is it a movie about a baby who's driving?
That's what I thought it was, but no, it's about a man, a boy, who's named Baby and is a driver. And the concept immediately was like, it sounded just like Drive. Like this guy was a driver. It looked like he was the best. And so he drives around like a lot of illegal people. He drives around a lot of people doing illegal things.
Okay.
And wants to get out, and obviously won't let that happen. Kevin Spacey looks like to be the main antagonist. It also has John Hamm as one of the bad dudes. And at first I was just like, okay, are you ripping off Drive? But then I saw who's writing and directing it. It's Edgar Wright.
Okay, ooh. Just, you said the magic words.
Yep. And I'm like, oh, you got me on board. That's so good. And it's like, wow, is this the first Edgar Wright film that is not like super dry British humor?
Yeah, it's the first one in a while that has been in the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Movies with Mikey?
No, what is that?
Movies with Mikey is a YouTube series where a guy does good 14-minute long movie reviews, and they are phenomenal, and his review of Scott Pilgrim in the World makes me like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World more than I've ever liked the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
That's super cool. Let me tell you, Mikey, what's it called? Mikey?
Movies with Mikey.
Mikey.
I found out about him because he actually did for one of his movie reviews, he literally just did Monster Factory because he's like, I know this isn't a movie, but this is still real fucking important, and I think it counts.
Wow.
And I remembered seeing Griffin and Justin like freaking the fuck out about being on that because they're like, wow, we are huge fans. So
that's awesome.
I'm like, okay, if they're fans enough to be freaking out over this, obviously it must be pretty damn good.
That's super cool. I'm gonna absolutely listen to this.
So I watched his review on Scott Pilgrim, and I watched his review on World's End. And World's End, as he puts it, might be his favorite movie of all time.
Wow. Oh, I want to give that movie another shot. Not that I actually really liked it, but I've only seen it once.
Yeah, was it that time we saw it at the Alamo? Or?
I'm trying to think if that was it.
I
may have seen it.
That was the first movie I actually ever saw at the Alamo.
Was there? Oh, you know what? No, I remember now. I saw it with Jack.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Oh, wow. Was that around the time the Alamo opened up?
That was literally the first. That was literally the first movie I ever saw at the Alamo.
That's fucking crazy.
It was like the perfect movie for it, and
it is. God, yeah, it actually really is.
He spends a lot of time in his review talking about very clever little details that Edgar Wright puts into that movie, like little mannerisms of, if you're like paying attention for the beginning part of the movie, where like they're showing the footage of their Miles as a kid. Their Mile as a kid. Oh, hey.
Hey. Nice.
Well, that's actually not that good because that should have been the big key. Or I should have gotten the big key at some point.
Wait a second. Can you go on your menu? What big key? Like, didn't you? I feel like you did get a. Oh no, you didn't.
Another
Shit.
one. There is one. This could be tough.
Well, at the very least, what you've now done is you've opened up Turtle Rock to be absolutely explored because you would enter it.
I think what it is it's one of these doors that should have a key. Is going to end up having. Okay. So we're not. We may have to do this dungeon a wee bit backwards.
Okay.
Because normally we're supposed to get the hook shot in here, and then head to here. But we already have the hook shot. So the big key is actually somewhere in here. So if we didn't have the hook shot where we got the hook shot, we might have been boned.
Damn.
But that's the way this challenge goes. But
that
yeah,
sounds really.
You'll see like the footage, like from the very beginning, just the footage of like a certain spot where the protagonist jumped over a fence, and he'll repeat that later on, but no one really calls like heavy attention to it. It just kind of happens.
Yes.
And there are tons of mannerisms. Like basically, that whole beginning segment of the movie is recreated shot for shot in the course of the film itself.
That's so awesome. That's amazing. Cause I remember the fence jumping part, and I was just like, huh, okay, all right, yeah. Every time he goes back to something, it's actually like, it's always like, oh, that's a funny little nod, but then it's also really well placed. And you think about how many times people have made a nod to a thing they've done already, and you don't do it as well. And it's just like,
Star Wars is very guilty of that.
Yep. What if Edgar Wright directed a Star Wars?
I can only get so hard.
Yeah.
That would be perfect. Like, it's weird, because I actually remember, like, oh god, just looking back at, like, how stupid we were in 2009, I remember me, Kevin and Vinny really just pushing hard. We're like, man, fuck Scott Pilgrim, The Expendables is,
Oh, that's right, I remember when we went to go see that.
we're like, The Expendables has to beat, Eat, Pray, Love, and Scott Pilgrim. Oh, there it is. Oh, shit.
Hey! Oh my.
But yeah, we're like, it has to beat him, otherwise it's not the movies. It's the movie's not gonna be good. And now looking back at it, it's like, oh man, The Expendables is still good, but like, in a ironic way now, like, how did we get so like, unironically hype for 70-year-old Sylvester Stallone's tattooed mantis, like at a time when we were going, oh no, boy, Chuck Norris is in this movie.
And he's gonna fucking fire a gun and he's gonna be 70 years old.
Ooh.
Hey, wow. Fucking cleaning up here.
I'm still not getting what I need.
Oh, you got the key though. You got the oh, that's right, you need
I still need the bow.
That's right, that bow.
I wonder if
well, this okay.
I wonder if he's gonna drop it.
I was gonna say, at the very least, this means like, look at your menu. Like, you have like like literally everything else.
I literally have everything else but the bow.
You have literally.
The only things left for me to get are a couple of, I think 2 bottles, whatever bombs and bullshit I haven't picked up before, and then the bow and arrow. Like, oh, and probably the silver. No, I still think I have to get silver arrows.
Yeah.
En natural.
I was gonna say, yeah, you'll probably. Yeah, I wonder if would they throw the silver arrows to you in a non.
I don't think so. Again, I think the only reason why the red boomerang and shield were out in the open is because there had to be that one treasure chest where if you didn't have them already, you get that. Like, I'm pretty sure that if those item values had been placed in boxes further down the road, they would have just been single rupees. Like, we got a lot of the just normal shit. Like, we got a lot of the bombs and we got a lot of the arrows just floating around.
Yes.
And it always kind of bothered me that I could never hit these guys from here.
I know, for all of the other things that are on a different level that you seem to be able to hit, like the keys, it's kind of like, why isn't Link just dipping his sword down and just sort of pushing it right into that?
I can't believe I have literally every other fucking item in the game.
Can't believe that either.
I mean, I suppose we also have a bunch of heart pieces to find too.
True, and I guess sword upgrades as well.
Well, the sword upgrades theoretically should be coming when we get the next sword upgrade. So one
okay.
when I get the final pendant, and one when I get the golden sword. Oh, slow down.
Oh.
Of course, he's also doing absolutely no damage to me.
Because of the tunic.
I mean, now that we have the tunic, I could technically go take on, like, other dungeons and still be okay. It's interesting how the bosses in this game always manage to take the, you know, use the item in the dungeon to fight them. But,
Yeah.
you know, it still wasn't, like, a guaranteed. You had ones like this, but not every boss, like, Tri-head,
Oh, Trinex. Yeah, Trinex is
didn't
like...
use anything in his dungeon.
Trinex is actually really fucking crazy. Because you could totally just, like, not know where the ice rod is.
Yeah, you can completely miss the ice rod in that game. And he's the only enemy in the entire game that actually needs you to fight him.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna give me the compass, aren't you?
Wow. Yep.